Hi! The story you're about to see is a modern-day biblical David and Goliath epic. The insignificant David is me, John H. Eagan, author of the book entitled The Enlightenment, but God told me after 1 million prayers, a message for everyone. And the giant in the story is Armani Exchange. It all started when I decided to take a stroll in the mall. I often go to the mall just to walk around and see what's new. During my stroll, I passed the Armani Exchange store. I saw an advertisement that was probably close to about 20 feet tall of a young man and a young woman half dressed. They were embraced and the young woman was blatantly sliding her hand down the front of the man's pants. I was distressed and shocked when I saw this advertisement. I knew in my mind that this offensive advertisement had to come down. So I drove home and immediately got on the phone and called the management of the mall. I got in touch with one of the mall managers and explained my dilemma. I explained that I was an author and a member of the community of Freehold, New Jersey, and that I was appalled at the offensive material they allowed on some of the windows at the mall. Then I told them what I saw on the Armani Exchange window. He then proceeded to tell me that the advertisement that I saw on the window was part of a multi-million-dollar ad campaign done by Armani Exchange, and it's not coming down for anybody. Not only that, he explained that I was the only one who complained about this advertisement. I explained to the manager that it doesn't make the advertisement any less offensive simply because nobody made the effort to complain about it. I got nowhere with this manager and decided to call again. This time I got in touch with a more sympathetic manager who said again, no one has complained about this matter, but he'll look into it. He called me back and said basically that he talked to the manager of Armani Exchange and she talked to her district manager who talked to the East Coast vice president, and it ended there. I decided I would make a YouTube video and stand in front of the advertisement and state my case in no uncertain terms. This is what the video looked like.
I'm standing in the Freehold Raceway Mall in the beautiful New Jersey community. I'm standing in front of an advertisement, bigger than life, on the Armani Exchange window. The only problem is the advertisement is pornography. It depicts a young man and a young woman, but the young woman is sliding her hand down his pants. It's been up here for months and no one has complained about it. Thousands of people have walked past it and no one has complained or saw it as obscene. It appears that big companies think they can put any image they want on the walls of a community like this without even being challenged. This is not a message or an image that I want to give the younger generation who frequent this mall by the thousands every week. This image is a green light for every adolescent, middle school, and high school girl to conduct themselves in a reprehensible manner. Let me read you something right out of my book. We're being deceived by virtue and purity and holiness. Our society has turned it upside down. We've made sin look natural and holiness look unnatural. You know, if you boil water and you throw a frog in it, it'll jump right out. But if you put a frog in room temperature water and start heating it up gradually to a boil, the frog will stay there until it dies. If we stop seeing images like this as rude, we become the boiling frog that doesn't even realize the peril it is in. I am here to point my finger in Armani's face and say, no, you're not going to do this in my community. You're not going to fail your smut around here, but I need your support. So stand up with me and help me get this pornography off the wall. Right?
While the management of the mall was looking into this problem, I started checking out the ordinances and laws in the state of New Jersey. I found Law 2C-34-3 on obscenities in advertisement. This advertisement fit that description quite accurately. That night at dinner, I described the problem of this advertisement to my sons and asked them for their take on it. This advertisement, so the only way I can get that down is by press a charge.
You sure you want to do that? I mean, Armani Exchange is a big company, big money, big lawyers. I mean, I'm sure they plaster that image everywhere. I mean, even though it's not a good image for young people to see in the mall, especially in a public place.
Well, I mean, hundreds of kids do see it a day. You know, it does seem a little out of place. And I mean, somebody's got to do something about these kind of things out there.
Yeah, I know. After listening to their advice, I decided to go down to the courthouse and file a complaint against Armani Exchange. The court told me that I needed information on the location of the store manager's name, the suite number, and the address so the courts could file a complaint. So I picked up the phone and made a call to the store. The person on the other end wanted to know why I needed this information, and I explained it was for a complaint about the offensive image that was on the front of their store window. They complied and gave me all the information I needed. I went back to the courthouse with all the information they needed and filed a complaint. The court clerk told me what date the hearings would begin. After the YouTube video played, the Asbury Park Press called me and said they liked the idea and would like to interview me on an upcoming article about this advertisement. I agreed, and I was interviewed by a lovely woman named Kim. Now where that article is and when it's going to air, I have no idea. The very next day after I pressed the charge, the advertisement was taken down by the people who manage the Armani Exchange store. Great, right? I went back to the mall and stood in front of the blank window where the advertisement used to be, and on video thanked the people who decided to take it down. I'd just like to commend the management of the Armani Exchange store for rethinking their actions. I would also like to thank the mall management for finally seeing this offensive advertisement for what it was. Now, isn't that better? I went back to the courthouse to drop all the charges. The court clerk, who knew of the advertisement, congratulated me for getting the offensive material down. Now, what's the moral of this story? Ask yourself, what kind of a world do you want to live in? Now, to people of my generation, the baby boomers, thousands of you walked by this offensive advertisement, yet not one of you protested or complained. When I interviewed people of my generation, they all said the same thing, and that was, well, that's the way it is today. There's nothing you could do about it. If my grandmother had walked by an advertisement like this back in the day, she would have fainted right there on the spot. But today, no one cares. Now let me ask you, what kind of a message are you sending your kids when you do nothing? Now to you, the Millennium Generation, Generation X, Generation Y, whatever you call yourself, the young generation. Leave it up to the Goliaths of the world, and they will build you a godless world and bring you down with them. Don't try to live without God and His great love. Fear living without God's love. Fear God. Not the way a slave fears his master, but fear not living in God's loving grace. Understand the true purpose of your life. Search for truth. Truth is what the heart yearns for. Find out how to live and how much God loves you by reading my book, The Enlightenment, what God told me after 1 million prayers, a message for everyone. And the next time you see something offensive, put your armor of courage on and do something about it. Call me. I'll be glad to help you fight the Goliaths of the world. And by the way, the next time I'm doing battle with another Goliath, I expect a little support. Feel free to throw yourself into the mix.